Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a two-time Minister of Finance in Nigeria, has said that the country and other African countries will be able to access COVID-19 vaccines as early as the beginning of 2021. Sosoliso plane crash survivor Kechi Okwuchi celebrated 15 years of surviving the fatal crash with pictures. Also, see the most searched Google queries in Nigeria for 2020 and how Lewis Hamilton returned to the tracks after shaking off the coronavirus. Welcome to Sidemex Universal's Trending Last Week video, where you get the hottest gist that happened during the past week. If you have not, kindly subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell icon to know when we drop our next cool video. It appears that BB Naija fans will be getting something they have long been expecting, a collabo between Laycon and Vee. According to Vee, the song will be dropping in 2021 and fans are already in a joyful mood. Laycon, who eventually emerged the winner of BB Naija's Season 5 show, had formed a close relationship with Vee during their time in the house. We already have proof of Laycon's ability as a rapper, but we don't know what Vee will be bringing. Anyway, this song is expected to be a banger and we're honestly here for it. Afrobeat superstar David Adeleke, also known as Davido, penned a heartfelt tribute to his late personal bodyguard TJ. The fun-loving singer was in one of his rare emotionally vulnerable states when he wrote on his Instagram page, "I want to wake up late for a show so you'd come and carry me again. I don't even know what I'm typing, man. RIP Uncle Tijani. Tired of being strong." TJ had been with Davido for 11 years, which is most of his music career, and this loss deeply affected the singer. We offer him our condolences and hope TJ is in a better place. Still on entertainment, Nollywood actress Eniola Badmus went on an emotional rant on her social media as she pleaded with her body shamers not to send her to an early grave. She said that her family, friends, and society have always bullied her for being plus size. Badmus further reveals that body shaming is so terrible that it can lead to depression and even suicide. She has even embarked on a weight loss journey to try and cut down her size. Typical of her, she managed to find a humorous way to end the rant. She wrote, "Na chubby, I know still your meat. Lol." But seriously, bullies are the worst. One way to overcome their taunts is through body positivity, and arguably no one is more resilient than the subject of our next gist. One look at Kechi Okwuchi and you understand the need for her resilience. She was one of the two survivors of the Sosoliso fatal plane crash that killed 108 people on the 10th of December 2005. On a recent post to mark the 15th year anniversary of surviving the Sosoliso Airlines Flight 1145 crash, Okwuchi wrote, "2020 has been a harsh reminder that life and death are two sides of the same coin, and today, the 15th anniversary of my accident, I am extremely humbled by this fact. As I continue to live for the lives lost that day, I will also live with new gratitude for life itself." She mentioned that 60 of her schoolmates had passed away that day. Kechi was not the only one remembering that tragic day. Nollywood actor and pastor Jimmy Odukoya also wrote a tribute in memory of his late mom, Bimbo Odukoya, who did not survive the Sosoliso plane crash. Jimmy wrote in part, "15 years later, your loss doesn't feel any easier, but legacy never dies. You lived through the lives you've touched. You lived through the Bimbo Odukoya Foundation. You lived through me." He also spared a thought for all the families that the accident affected. Sosoliso Airlines Flight 1145 had been a scheduled domestic passenger flight between the Nigerian cities of Abuja and Port Harcourt. According to verified sources, it crash-landed and burst into flames after a missed approach because the pilot could not see the unlit runway through the rain. In other news, President Buhari said he is disgusted at the manner with which the foreign press handled the coverage of the controversial End SARS protests in Nigeria. The president said this via his official Twitter handle. He lamented that policemen that were killed, stations that were burnt, and prisons that were opened did not make it into the reports of the foreign press. President Buhari's tweet came a day after he held a closed-door meeting with all 36 state governors at the presidential villa in Abuja. At the meeting, the president sounded a strong warning about the reoccurrence of the End SARS protest, saying no government will allow riots and violence because of demonstrations. A day after Dr. Ifeanyiwa, the wife of Channel's TV reporter Pius, accused him of battery in a viral video, Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom intervened and reconciled the couple. In the viral video, Ifeanyiwa, who is a medical doctor, showed visible marks on her battered face. She accused Pius Angbo of beating her all through the 6 years of marriage, including while she recovered from having a child through cesarean comment section 4 weeks ago. Channels TV had condemned violence against women and anyone in its response to the issue. It also promised that the matter would be investigated and then it would take appropriate action. Governor Ortom justified the reunion, explaining that Pius angbo had apologized and his wife had forgiven him. This did not shield him from the negative responses from social media users who called for Pius angbo to be persecuted and punished. What is your take on this? Share with us in the comment section as we move on to other news happening within Nigeria. Students who missed their National Examinations Council, the NECO exams in October 2020 will have a chance to rewrite them in February 2021. This comes after the council's registrar, Mr. Godswill Obioma, announced a new date for writing the exams. He explained that such exams as Chemistry Paper 1, Commerce Paper 2 and 3, Economics 2 and 3, and Technical Drawing 1 could not hold due to the End SARS protest and the subsequent unrest. NECO had first put the 2020 school certification activities before postponing them indefinitely on the 25th of October 2020. The postponement of NECO exams until 2021 will mean that children who were relying on it for their admission into higher institutes will face a setback. This is the thoughts of Lagos State Chairman, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Mr. Alowale Amusa. What are your own thoughts? 2020 is undoubtedly the year we spent the most time online, and Google has just released the top searches of the year from Nigerian users. It does not take a genius to guess that the coronavirus would be the most searched word on Google this year. However, Joe Biden was the most searched person in Nigeria. He is followed by Rima, Naira Marley, Rahama Sadawu, Hush Puppy, Laycon, Kamala Harris, Omale, Mariam Sanda, and Kay Havertz. Each of the people in the top 10 searches piqued Nigeria's interest for many reasons. You can search their names on our blog and see the articles that come up for the details on why Nigerians were interested in them in 2020. Meanwhile, Davido's Femme was the most popular song in 2020 according to Google. Simi's Duduke is second, while Rema's Ginger Me and Woman occupy 5th and 6th place. On to sports updates. Lewis Hamilton will feature in the second ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix this weekend after recording negative coronavirus tests. The 7-time world champion underwent a 10-day period of isolation in Bahrain, which ended on Thursday. He missed last week's Sakir GP after contracting coronavirus. Hamilton is now said to have returned negative COVID-19 test in Bahrain before flying to Abu Dhabi on Thursday, and then returned another negative result on arrival at the UAE, thus giving him the green light to make his return to the paddock on Friday in time for opening practice. George Russell, who filed in for the Formula 1 2020 racing champion, will revert to his seat at Williams after covering for Hamilton last week. Sunday's race, the 17th and final one of the season, will be live at 1:10 p.m. For the world champion, last weekend's race was the first he had missed since his F1 career began in 2007. After a record run of 265 consecutive starts, Hamilton had already clinched this year's World Drivers' title, a record equaling 7th for the Englishman at last month's Turkish GP. The final group game of the season's Champions League was concluded on Wednesday, and we now have all 16 qualified teams ready for the round of 16 knockout phase. Premier League's teams such as Liverpool, Manchester City and Chelsea qualified and would represent England in the knockout phase, while Manchester United got knocked into the Europa League. Other big-name teams who would be joining them in the round of 16 include Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, Juventus, Paris Saint-Germain and others. The Europa League group stage has also reached its conclusion, with English teams such as Arsenal, Tottenham Hotspurs and Leicester City topping their groups and securing qualification for the knockout stage. Manchester United also joined the contingent, having dropped into the Europa League after an early exit from the Champions League. Other notable clubs that made it into the knockout round are Roma, Bayer Leverkusen, AC Milan, Napoli, Ajax and several others. The draws for the preliminary round of the World Cup to be staged in Qatar in 2020 have been held with 55 teams split into 5 groups of 5 and 5 groups of 6. The teams that finished at the summit of the 10 groups will get an automatic ticket for the finals, which for the first time will be played in November and December of 2021 to avoid the punishing summer heat in the Middle East. A further 3 slots will be battled for between the 10 groups runner-ups and the 2 highest-ranked teams from the Nations League who have not already qualified or finished in a runners-up spot. These 12 teams will be divided into 3 playoff paths, each featuring 4 countries, to determine the final 3 European berths. Floyd Mayweather has revealed plans to fight YouTube star Logan Paul in a special exhibition fight in February 2021. was a 10-round victory over MMA fighter Conor McGregor in one of the richest bouts in boxing history in 2017. He had ended his career unbeaten after 50 bouts. Logan Paul, 25 on the other hand, with over 22 million subscribers on YouTube, has only had one professional fight to his name, a fight in November 2019 against fellow British YouTuber KSI. A fight between the two has been on the cards for quite some time now. Paul has been consistently sending for the compatriot Mayweather on numerous occasions, with the pair trading insults on social media. Sakir Grand Prix 2020 champion Sergio Perez has expressed his satisfaction after emerging victorious at his 190th attempt in Sunday's emotional Formula One race, saying it leaves him a bit more at peace. Perez, who is 30, had to maneuver his way to pole position from the last position as he clinched a memorable win, driving alongside Renault's Esteban Ocon and Racing Point teammate Lance Stroll. At the end of the race, an emotional Perez said, "It gives me a bit more peace with myself. What happens is not so much in my hands. I want to keep going. If I'm not on the grid next year, I'll be back in 2021. The Mexican, who has been at Racing Point since 2014, is due for replacement next year by four-point world champion Sebastian Vettel when the team undergoes rigorous rebranding. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, a two-time former Minister of Finance for Nigeria, has said that the country and its African neighbors will be able to access COVID-19 vaccines as early as the beginning of 2021. She made the statement after a closed-door meeting with Nigerian Ministers of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, on Wednesday in Abuja. According to her, the argument to get vaccines to poorer regions favors the likes of Nigeria and its neighbors. Okonjo-Iweala speaks from a place of authority as she currently serves as the African Union Special Envoy, soliciting international support for the continent's fight against COVID-19. Part of her statement reads, "As long as one person has it in the world, no one is safe. And that is why poorer countries, lower middle income countries like Nigeria need to get it as quickly as possible." She mentions that Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines have been negotiated to avoid poor countries waiting in line behind richer countries. Also, while she hopes that vaccination will start by the end of January 2021, she postulates that only about 20 to 23% of the population will get it by the end of the year. Okonjo-Iweala also adds that the vaccination will start with frontline health workers, older people, those with underlying health conditions, and then the rest of the population. As of Friday, the 11th of December 2020, the total number of confirmed coronavirus infections in Nigeria was 72,140. 1,190 deaths have been reported, while 65,722 patients have recovered and have been discharged from isolation facilities across the country. This means that the number of active cases was 5,228. This is where we draw the curtains of this week's Trending Last Week episode. If you enjoyed this episode, like this video and share with your friends. Also, share your thoughts with us in our comment section below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more exciting content and follow us on Instagram at CydomXENT and on Twitter at CydomX.